Welcome to Cancer and Peace Moments. I'm Sean Stewart, here with my good friend Peter Scalzo, and this week we are going to have just a 15-minute segment here that has snippets and insights from previous episodes that we think you'll find meaningful, and we hope you enjoy. And today we're going to talk about purpose, how finding your purpose helps move you towards hope. And in a cancer journey, being without hope is not a great place to be, as I think you've probably experienced several of those areas in your own life.
Yes.
And so we thought it might be good just to talk about the importance of finding purpose.
Yes.
And there's probably a lot of layers of this. And is it okay if I kick it off with my school story? So I think it might be interesting just to put it as a concept, and then let's put it into how that aligns with the
Sounds
cancer
good.
thing. So
Yep.
Peter and I both just did a gala event, and one of the things I had run across is back in February of 2023, sorry. And there was a story that came out about 23 Baltimore schools that had where 0 students tested proficient for proficiency in math. And that shocked me for a second. I was like, how is that possible that that could be the case? And there's probably a lot of factors that go into it. But the thing that really stuck out to me is there had to be at least one student who was a math prodigy. Out of 23 schools, there had to be many students who had capabilities. And so I'm sure there'll be people that blame it on the teachers or the curriculum or a number of things. But to get to 0, that's like a really special place. Like the power of 0 is just really hard to get to. And it dawned on me that there has to be something that's bigger than just those things that would be easier explained. And the thing I got to was purpose. If you could get to a point where there's not a purpose in taking the test, there's not a purpose in pursuing this, why bother? Then you could get to 0. And that's the only thing I could come up with. And maybe there's a different explanation, but it just, to me, helped see that. And I saw it was because we're working with New York City school kids. And I see so many of them. The reason why I come to that point was I've seen so many of them where purpose was missing. And when purpose was missing, they showed up in kind of I don't even care. They didn't try. There was no effort. And that's why I was thinking that. And it related to me that could happen in the cancer journey. Like if you lose your purpose, then you kind of lose your hope. You just kind of give up and stop moving forward. And I don't know if that resonates with you, but I think it does. But maybe, I'll let you relate that into the cancer journey, and even your cancer journey, maybe the ups and downs that you've gone through, and then we'll talk about that a little bit further.
Yeah, thank you, Sean. That's an interesting example from the school system, but I definitely think that purpose in a cancer journey is a huge topic. I've seen it done purposeless, without much purpose, and then done purposeful with a lot of purpose. And to me, purpose provides meaning. So it can become a meaningful journey. In fact, some people have said it's the most meaningful journey that they've ever taken, was getting diagnosed with cancer, having to deal with the tough emotions of cancer, and then coming out at a place that it was painful and hurt and involved lots of disillusionment, despair, but in the end, they look back and say, wow, I found a lot of meaning in that, and therefore a lot of purpose, and then of course, hope. But I think that let's talk for a minute about the person who gets diagnosed with a terminal diagnosis.
Yeah.
And that's a difficult, really difficult journey to be in. And I've been with those people before. I've been with them from diagnosis to end of life. And purpose is a huge topic of discussion for them.
Yeah.
And for me with them. And I think that a life that's meaningful and is one that's purposeful. And I know you'll tie that in with hope, but I have really discussed this a lot with cancer patients who are moving to the end of their life. And for them, it was a matter of getting them to focus on purpose. And a lot of them had a great purpose in their cancer journey. In other words, relationships were restored. That probably would have never been restored.
Mm.
Things were said to loved ones that maybe never would have been said. Spiritual growth and emotional growth happened because of the cancer diagnosis and journey. And they were actually thankful for that piece of it, for the nearness they felt to God, if they were spiritual people. But there's a tendency, and I know this is not the subject of the podcast, but to say, oh, I've been diagnosed with cancer, I'm a burden. I'm a burden on my family, on the medical community, on everyone. And yet your family members are happy, believe it or not, or joyful, I should say, to come alongside of the cancer patient. That's been my experience every time. Was it difficult? Yes. Painful? Yes. But it was almost like their honor and privilege to come alongside that loved one and journey with them. And I think that's what we tend as cancer patients to dismiss so quickly, is that our journey has a deep impact on the people around us. And I'm almost in my 18th year now on my cancer journey, and spent many nights in the hospital, twice been told to go home and call hospice by a major cancer center. But out of my 6 children, just this one fact alone, we were never a medical family. Like, we have business people, real estate people, and I'm an attorney. But out of my 6 kids, one is a 3rd-year medical student. One is an ICU nurse down in New York City. And the other one's a biomedical engineer working for a pharma on cancer drugs. So even if just, let's say my cancer journey produced that, and they have an impact on people's lives medically, is it worth it? Yeah, there's a great purpose with that. A purposeful ministry came out of pain and suffering.
I want to delve into that a little bit further too, because you highlighted something that is implied, but I guess I'd like to move it out of the implied into the direct, and that is, you described purpose of having time to have relationship with God. And I also think it's with others too. It's a part of, because then you described, hey, you were able to do ministry, but ministry wasn't preaching and teaching.
Right.
Ministry has been having deep relationship with others in your life. And so, and I keep thinking, it's like, yeah, we've all walked through cemeteries, and to date, I haven't seen, best carpenter, carpenter of the year, or, he loved cars, or something like that. There's not real purpose there. It's not that those things aren't great, and that being good at a craft isn't important. I think that is. But where we find real purpose, at least from how the cemetery testifies, is relationships. You might see a great husband, you might see a beloved son, you may see something that
excuse me,
he walked with God and loved God. Those are things that you see because they describe purpose and meaning. And I think that is something for us to just digest in. What happens in those shorter windows is the clarity of that becomes heightened. And so when you have 6 weeks, you're not going to try to become the best carpenter. You're not going to try to see if I can restore my car in the next 6 weeks to finish it out that I'm working on. It's all going to be relational. All that's just going to fall by the wayside, and it's going to be relational because the purpose is in that space. And it's so easy in our busyness of life to lose that. And I guess that's the point, is that when there's purpose, there's deep hope. And if purpose comes from relationships, much can be accomplished, much can be restored, much can be built even. It doesn't all have to be restoration. It can be with clarity and understanding. Deep love can be expressed even in short amount of times, because so much has been stripped away.
Yeah, and the cancer journey is tailor-made for that, because there's a lot of bedtime and rest time, because you're unable to the energy is difficult, and it's a good time for people to visit, come over and sit and talk. And, I had a good friend, real good friend who passed from cancer during COVID. And she said to me, have I done anything to you that I need to apologize for?
Hmm.
She asked me that twice. I said, no, no. But I thought that was really interesting. She knew that she was terminal. She did pass, and she had a desire to restore relationships.
Make amends, yeah.
Yes.
Which is a big part of the recovery process, is
Yes.
to
Yep.
make amends. And I think that's something to think about on the purpose journey is if you're in that space, a great starting point is to take ownership for your own life,
Mhm.
no blame, and yeah, make amends to where there's opportunity there, and then let God open the door. You can't demand the response that you're going to get, but let God open the door relationship. And I think what happens, I've seen it in my own life, but I'm thinking about my friend who talked about his dad and how much was restored. These guys were great friends when he died in just a few short years, and they couldn't live together for many, and were in cutoff land for large blocks of time. That amazes me. And so there's so much opportunity. There's such deep purpose that can happen as clarity, as things are stripped away. And I think we've talked about cancer being a stripping of all these other things off and asking you to get to what's essential in your life. Thanks for listening, everyone. We hope that you found something meaningful and insightful from what you heard today. Have a great day.